Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive.
Mm,
Today, we're diving into the career of Jason Metzgar, a senior product designer.
sounds interesting.
It is. And we've got his LinkedIn profile and excerpts from his personal website, his portfolio.
Oh, cool.
So it's kind of like we have, two different views, bit of a backstage pass to his career journey.
I like it.
So whether you're really into design or just curious about, what makes a top designer tick, this is for you.
For sure.
So we're on a mission basically to uncover what makes Jason's work stand out and, what kind of designer he is, get to know him a little bit.
Yeah, and it is fascinating, right? We're not just like skimming a resume here. We've got that polished LinkedIn,
Right.
and then the portfolio. It's amazing how much you can learn about someone just from a quick scroll through their profile. So much to unpack. Senior product designer, that's a lot to live up to.
Right. And his background in UX design, that alone tells you we're dealing with someone who thinks about how people experience the world.
Which is what good design is all about. But before we get ahead of ourselves, let's start with the basics. His About section on LinkedIn.
Good place to start. Get a feel for how he describes himself.
Okay, so he says he's wired for information architecture, someone who loves being creative and developing ideas.
Okay, that's pretty on brand for a UX designer, wouldn't you say? I mean, at its core, that's what they do.
Totally. But information architecture, that sounds a little, I don't know, technical. What does that even mean in the context of UX design?
So imagine you walk into a library, right? And everything's organized in a way that makes sense. You can easily find what you're looking for that's information architecture. It's about making information accessible and digestible, whether it's on a website, an app, or even in a physical space.
Mm-hmm.
And Jason, he's clearly passionate about making those digital spaces work seamlessly for the user.
And looking at his experience, he seems to have had the opportunity to do that in a lot of different settings, right? I mean, he's worked with WorkStep, Degreed, Canopy, CCB. That's quite a range.
Right. And it's not just the names that are interesting, it's the variety, different industries,
Yeah.
different company sizes.
Yep.
It suggests he's adaptable, comfortable in different environments.
Which is huge. If I'm hiring, that's a big green flag for me. Tells me he's not afraid of a challenge, can jump in and figure things out.
Absolutely. That kind of versatility is gold, especially in the world of UX design, which is constantly evolving. But here's where it gets even more interesting. While working at Royal, he was also studying at Full Sail University
Oh, wow.
and ultimately graduated as valedictorian.
No way.
Talk about dedication.
That's not even just dedication, it's exceptional time management.
Right.
Juggling a full-time job while acing your studies.
Yeah.
That speaks volumes about Jason's work ethic and his ability to just handle pressure,
Right.
Which, let's be honest, those are highly valued traits in the design world.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Especially with how fast-paced it is.
For sure.
And keep in mind, this is also the period where he transitioned from graphic design to UX/UI design.
You're right. That is a very significant detail. For those who maybe aren't familiar with the design world, UX/UI design is all about creating those user-friendly and appealing digital experiences.
Right, right.
It's a difference between a website that is clunky, frustrating to use, to one that's super intuitive, enjoyable,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And Jason didn't just dabble in UX/UI. He pursued this very clear progression, like taking on roles at CCB, Canopy, Degreed.
It's like he was strategically building his expertise.
Yeah.
Moving from one company to the next, adding all these tools to his, designer toolkit along the way.
Exactly. Building up that resume.
And remember how his role at Royal overlapped with these positions?
Yeah, that's true.
It makes you wonder if he had a side hustle he was passionate about or something.
It certainly adds another layer of intrigue.
Yeah.
This overlap suggests an entrepreneurial spirit.
For sure.
Perhaps a personal project that allowed him to further hone his craft.
Right.
And that brings us to his design expertise, which, as we'll see, it's about much more than just making things look pretty.
Right. So let's dive into that expertise. Both his LinkedIn and portfolio, they really highlight his, commitment to UX UI design.
Yeah.
But there's this one phrase that kind of pops up that I find really intriguing. Material design. He mentions it several times in his skills list project descriptions. I'll admit I'm not a designer.
Right.
So what exactly IS material design? What does it tell us about his approach?
Oh, that's a great question. So material design, it's a design language actually developed by Google.
Okay.
And think of it as a set of guidelines for creating digital experiences
Okay.
that are visually consistent, intuitive, and user-friendly. And this is important across different devices and platforms.
Well, okay.
So imagine a world where your favorite app, it looks and feels the same whether you're using your phone, a tablet, or even your computer.
Oh, I see, I see.
That's the beauty of material design.
Okay, so it's all about creating that really seamless experience for the user.
Right.
But it's more than just the aesthetics then, right?
Exactly, exactly. It goes beyond just looking pretty. It's about really understanding how users interact with technology
Right.
and designing these interfaces that are both visually appealing but also incredibly easy to use.
Yeah.
And the fact that Jason highlights his material design expertise, this tells us a few key things about his design philosophy.
Okay, like what?
So first, it shows that he's really up to date on industry trends,
All right. Best practices, all that.
best practices, exactly. He's not stuck in the past. He's embracing the latest and greatest in design thinking.
Right.
Second, it demonstrates a commitment to user-centered design.
Yeah.
Remember how his career progression, there was this clear shift toward UX UI?
Right, right.
Well, this is further proof that he really prioritizes the needs and experiences of those end users.
And that user-centric approach, it really shines through in his portfolio. He even states his design philosophy, like, directly.
Oh, does he?
He says he aims to create work that's aesthetically pleasing
Yeah.
and easily implementable.
Oh, I like that.
It's that perfect balance of form and function, which I feel like we see a lot in his work.
Absolutely, absolutely. He understands that a beautiful design, that's impossible to actually build. It's useless.
Right.
And speaking of balancing different aspects,
Yeah.
did you notice how he lists nunchucks under skills on his portfolio?
Wait, really?
That's got to be a joke, right?
It has to be.
Yeah.
But, even as just this playful quirk, it gives us a little glimpse into his personality,
Right.
It suggests that he's someone who doesn't take himself too seriously,
Hmm.
someone who brings a sense of humor to their work.
Which, I mean, we are trying to understand him as a potential collaborator or a colleague.
Exactly.
A little levity can go a long way.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Especially in a work environment.
Right, right.
It suggests someone approachable, someone who can bring a bit of fun to those really challenging projects.
Totally, totally. Okay, moving on from the nunchuck skills. Although I'm now picturing him like leading a design meeting with nunchucks.
Right.
Let's talk about his design sprint workshop certification. This is listed on his LinkedIn. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little fuzzy on what that even is. Okay, so a design sprint. In essence, it's like a pressure cooker for solving design problems.
Oh,
So it's this time-boxed process, typically just a few days,
okay.
where a team will focus intensely on one specific design challenge.
Gotcha.
They'll brainstorm ideas, they prototype
Oh.
solutions, they get feedback from real users, all with the goal of validating their ideas and making, rapid progress.
Sounds very collaborative.
Exactly. It's about getting things done, not just talking about them.
Right.
And for someone like Jason, who clearly values user feedback, that data-driven design,
Right.
this is an incredibly valuable tool. Imagine him like leading a design sprint,
Yeah.
guiding the team through this rapid iteration process,
Yeah.
constantly testing and refining ideas based on real user insights.
Wow.
That's the power of this methodology.
So it's not even just like a theoretical certification. It's like a practical skill set
Exactly.
that he can use.
It's real-world stuff.
And speaking of practical skills, we can't overlook those glowing recommendations on his LinkedIn. I'm talking about the ones from Chris Barmon and Tommy Forstrom.
Oh, yes, yes.
Those recommendations are gold.
They're so good.
They go beyond just the generic, like, Jason was great to work with. They give you actual insights
Totally.
into his work ethic, his personality.
For sure. Like, for example, Chris highlights Jason's ability to think deeply about the opportunity space.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
yeah.
Which, that to me, that says strategic mind.
Yes.
Like someone who's not just executing orders,
Totally.
they're thinking critically
Yeah.
about the bigger picture. And then there's Tommy's comment about Jason's ability to create an atmosphere of positivity and excitement,
Oh, I love that.
which that speaks volumes about, his teamwork and leadership.
Those are invaluable traits to have in a collaborative field, like design. And then there's this glowing review from Patrick Cox, design director at Canopy Tax. Okay, ready for this. He says Jason has an incredible visual eye for design, is super passionate about people, and truly wants to make everyone's life better.
Okay, stop right there. That right there wants to make everyone's life better. That's gold. Tells me he's got the empathy that's so crucial for good UX design.
Oh, totally. And Patrick goes on to say, I think that's what makes him such a damn good designer. He genuinely cares about his work and the people that will consume it.
And that's what it's all about, right? The human impact. The best designers, they get that. They understand that what they create has a ripple effect.
Totally agree. And you know what else I noticed? The sheer number of recommendations this guy has. 18. 18 recommendations on LinkedIn. That speaks volumes.
It does. Says he's someone who makes a lasting impression, someone people want to vouch for. That's huge in this industry.
All right, so let's recap for a sec. We've got a designer with a seriously diverse skill set, a clear passion for creating meaningful experiences, and a knack for building strong relationships.
Oh, yeah.
And it's not just empty praise either.
Right.
Remember how Jason emphasizes data-driven design? Well, his portfolio is packed with examples of how he's actually used data to measure the impact of his work.
Oh, wow, okay.
So, for example, his work on the survey creation platform, it resulted in a 99% decrease in service requests and an 8 out of 10 user satisfaction score. Those are some seriously impressive numbers.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah. It's not just designing based on his intuition.
Right.
He's backing it up with hard data, with tangible results.
It's that commitment to continuous improvement, that really sticks out to me.
Totally.
But there's another layer to his profile that I think is worth exploring: his volunteer work.
Yes. This is where we get a glimpse into his values, what matters to him outside of his professional life.
Yeah.
He's dedicated his time to Habitat for Humanity, Samaritan's Purse, the Dream Center.
It's inspiring, really. He's chosen to support a real diverse range of organizations,
It's true.
which to me suggests he's not just, looking for a resume booster or something. He genuinely wants to make a difference.
Absolutely. And it's not just a passing interest either. Take, for instance, his involvement with the Utah High School Cycling League.
Okay.
He's listed as a level 2 coach, which that kind of indicates, a significant long-term commitment.
Yeah, yeah.
That speaks volumes about his character, I think.
It really does. And, it makes me wonder, is there a way to connect this, passion for giving back to his design work? Could this suggest, an interest in pro bono projects, using his skills to support causes that he believes in?
That's a brilliant observation. It's certainly something to consider. I mean, we've seen his commitment to, user-centered design, his data-driven approach,
Right.
his desire to really create work that has a positive impact.
Yeah.
It's not a stretch at all to imagine him, channeling that energy into projects that align with his values.
It paints a really interesting picture of a designer who's not just skilled and experienced.
Right.
But also driven by a desire to actually make a difference.
Exactly. And that brings us to, I think, a really crucial question for you, the listener. We've spent this deep dive exploring the facets of Jason's career, his skills, experiences, even his personality a bit.
Right.
But the true value of all this exploration, it isn't just about us gaining insights into Jason. It's about how those insights resonate with you.
Yeah. What kind of designer? I asked Jason Metzgar. Right. Well, I mean, we've uncovered a lot of clues. A real dedication to that user-centered design.
Yes.
A passion for those data-driven results. Commitment to always improving. A playful sense of humor.
Yeah.
And that desire to give back to his community.
Absolutely. And now we kind of turn it over to you. As you consider this really multifaceted individual, ask yourself, what kind of projects would really ignite his passion? Where could his very unique combination of skills and experience really make the biggest impact,
Yeah, it's a great question to think about. Is he someone that you would want to collaborate with?
Yeah.
Could he be that missing piece in your next project?
He's definitely someone I'd want to meet.
Me too. And that's the beauty of these deep dives, right? We're not giving you all the answers, but we're giving you the tools to draw your own conclusions.
Exactly. So what do you think about Jason Metzgar? Is he the design maverick your company desperately needs? Only one way to find out: do your own digging.
Exactly. Just like Jason brings his own unique perspective to each design project, we want you to do the same when considering him as a potential hire.
Now it's up to you to decide, is Jason Metzgar the missing piece of your design puzzle?
These are the questions we hope you'll ponder as we conclude this deep dive into the career of Jason Metzgar. Until next time, happy designing.